decided that you would leave Middlesbrough. How did that come about? I mean, leaving your hometown to go just up the road to Sunderland.
No, that actually, it took the Middlesbrough people a long time to forgive me for that, because Middlesbrough was like Everton and Liverpool, Middlesbrough and Sunderland, Newcastle. It took them a long time to forgive me going to Sunderland. And for a couple of years, it was a case of we wouldn't care where you'd gone, Bry, as long as you hadn't gone to Sunderland.
You continued scoring goals at a phenomenal rate there as well until you had this injury.
Happy days at Sunderland.
Yeah.
Happiest time of my life in terms of football-wise, because my two sons were born in Sunderland and my daughter was born in Hartlepool. So over a period of 3 years, it was the happiest time of my life. And Sunderland people are beautiful.
And at Roker Park, still the goals kept coming. Here, a fabulous header. Brian played for them from 1961 to 1964, and indeed he scored 54 goals in 61 games. That's a truly remarkable tally.
Up for the chance. Yes, it's there! A brilliant piece of opportunism by Brian Clough. Clough! Yes, it's there, by a word. Chipped. Clough there, it's in! Oh, what a delightful header. Boxing Day 62 was a very unhappy time for me, obviously, because we were playing against Bury that particular day, and I'd got my head down going into the penalty area, chasing a bad ball from Jimmy McNabb. And a goalkeeper came out rather balmy in those days, because they didn't come out quickly in those days, and they weren't as brave as present-day goalkeepers. Anyway, I went over him, and I did my knee, and I did my big head, and all that type of thing, and I finished up in the infirmary in Sunderland. And that finished me altogether.
I mean, you struggled on, I think, to play, what, 2 or 3 games at the start of the following season?
I trained for about 12 months, 18 months, and tried to get back, and I eventually made it to the First Division. It was the only time I ever played in the First Division. And one of the nice things of having got back, not only got back on the football field, because that was the only thing I could do, was play football, was I scored against Leeds. And over the years, they became the arch enemies of everybody, never mind just me. And I scored against Jackie Charlton, which I used to do regularly, actually, because in those days he couldn't play. He only became a player when he was about 26, 27.
Yes. And now you're at which age now are we talking about?
Well, my age, I was 27, 28, and I finished when I was 29. And the vivid things that come back when you bring things back to me big head was, of course, you get carried off because you've done your knee and all that type of thing, and I'm lying there at Roker Park, and the physiotherapist went to take my boots off, and Alan Brown says, don't touch his boots, leave his boots on. And I just got my big head up, and I said, what? He said, well, you might just go back on. And that's how we used to think and talk. But unfortunately for me, I didn't get back on.
So the injury eventually finished his playing career. Next stop was Hartlepool.
For a figurehead for North East football, he was huge, but for Newcastle United, he was massive, because when he came in, we were near the bottom of the league, if not bottom. Confidence was at an all-time low, including myself. If he hadn't have come in, then I would have probably had to have left the football club. And it was just an aura about him that on his the first game that he was there, he took some of the senior players into his room and just speaking to us for half an hour, he just gave us confidence without actually seeing us play. And there was just something about him that when he spoke to you, that he knew what made you tick. Even in his last few months at Newcastle on the training ground, he was still laughing and joking. He'd be first in the morning, last away. He'd beat everyone into the training ground and onto the training ground. He loved to be precise with his time. He hated lateness, and that's the one thing that really annoyed him. He wanted everyone to be punctual and out on the training pitch at the right time. But if you worked hard for him, both on the pitch and off it, then you would definitely get on with him. He was watching the youth teams. He was watching the reserves. If the first team weren't in, then he would be there with the reserves, coaching them, working on the training ground. That's what he loved. That he loved being out on a football pitch, and that's where he's at his happiest. Any autographs that wanted doing, whether you were a young kid or whether you're an old man, he would have time for you, and he would want to speak to you. He would sign anything that you wanted for him, and he was that kind of guy. Everyone loved him because of who and because of what he was. That wasn't just kept for the North East or Newcastle. That was all around the country and in different parts of the world because of who and what he was and what he represented to football.
It has been a great honor and pleasure to compete against Sir Alex for 3 years. It was a great honor to beat him in Old Trafford, and I wish him good luck for his future.
He was great to play for because if you weren't a certain type of person, you could take exception to it, to the demands he placed on the way he put it over to you, because he could be quite aggressive, as you would imagine. But what he did for you was that the demands that he placed on you enabled you to be a better player. And if you could deal with the way he did that, then you're a Manchester United player. So it was cruel love, I suppose. He's been cruel to be kind to get the best out of you.
Well, everybody was surprised and shocked what happened, and how do you fill the shoes? I don't think you ever fill the shoes. I don't think anybody will ever do that again. But to surpass that, I think that's the record, and what Sir Alex has done has been an absolute phenomenal thing there. Never be repeated in my opinion.
It was always going to be a surprise. He's an icon, he's a football icon, and probably when you see someone inactive, maybe you don't appreciate as much as what is achieved and what is done. And now, and I think the generations to come, they'll realise what an incredible figure, what a unique figure, and I don't think anybody else will match what is done in modern game.
I feel pretty sad, really. You know, it's the end of an era, isn't it? It's the end of a fantastic, great man who's going to bow out at the top like he should do, and the best manager in my lifetime is suddenly stopped. So, unfortunately, you stop learning and looking and watching him.
It's going to be a great loss to the Premier League and to football. Fantastic manager. But not only, in my opinion, not only was he a great manager, he's a top bloke as well. I think he always had time for young managers. I think if anybody ever rang him up, he always answered their calls, or if he missed them, he rang them back, no matter what level they managed at. And he was always there for anybody. You know, I think if ever there was any of the managers that he was a big driving force behind the League Managers Association, if there was anyone was ill or anyone had passed away, he always made the time to go there and be there for the family, and that shows you what he's about. He was, you know, as I say, we all know he was a great football manager, but he's also a great bloke.